I saw this hilarious video that Stephen King posted on Twitter showing all, and it's like, of all people, Stephen King, the great horror author, it was of the disastrous parade for him in Washington, D.C. And it was a bunch of horns that sounded horrible. It was playing what was that song? Ach, Sparata, or whatever the hell it's called. It was that theme from 2001, A Space Odyssey. And it was all out of tune, and it sounded like the squeaking of the military tanks that were just going down the street. Oh my God, it was nothing short of hysterical. That parade was an absolute abortion because we paid $45 million of our taxpayer money. $45 million. And what did we get? A parade that was only attended by, 10,000 people? 10,000, and meanwhile, millions of people from coast to coast partaked in the No Kings marches that happened yesterday. Way more people. And, everybody from everyday men and women to even celebrities, even up in my hometown of Traverse City, Michigan. Ben Folds, who was playing that night at Airlock, and Ben Folds, Ben Folds 5, their big song was Brick, and Ballad of Who Could Care Less. He even participated in that march. And it was like, it shows that America has had enough of Trump's bullshit. This is, the guy hasn't even been president for not even 6 months, and already he's done a lot of damage. So the point is, folks, Donald Trump has proved... Sorry, I had to pause a little bit. My mom called. So, I kind of lost my train of thought, but I'll try to say what I was trying to say here. The situation, folks, is Donald Trump isn't popular. He has a 38% approval rating, and his audience is it's a niche audience. Even worse is the fact that not too far from here in Grand Rapids, where right now I'm at the park here in Kentwood. So this is what happened. Donald Trump, so we had this 2-day music festival in Hastings, which is this, I wouldn't call it a small town. It is a small town. I mean, it's not a metropolis by any shape of the imagination. But Hastings has this, they have a fairgrounds. It's Berry County, very conservative part of West Michigan. And they had this 2-day concert. And it was a combination of rock and country, featuring Kid Rock and Nickelback. 2 music acts that nobody has given 2 shits about in over 20 years. Kid Rock, he lost to me. He jumped the shark big time when he, endorsed Mitt Romney for president. This is, folks, he's very far from his roots. His last several albums have been shitty-ass country albums. And, it's so sad considering that once upon a time, he hooked up with the black people of Detroit. He was once, he was this kid who grew up in a little orchard in a rural part of Detroit. His dad was a owned a Mercury and Lincoln car dealership. And then, you know, he would go sneak out in the middle of the night, go to these little parties, and bring a turntable with him. He went to, that's a Honda, by the way, Honda motorcycle. And he would bring out his little turntable, and, you know, people were shocked that this kid could rock with just a turntable. And he learned how to mix just by listening to these old mix shows on WJLB in Detroit. And look at him now. He went from being a man who refused rap and metal to being a really shitty country artist who sticks his tongue way up the asshole of Donald Trump. I mean, he's not the Kid Rock I once loved. Same with Nickelback. Nickelback has not been, it's like when Nickelback first came out with Leader of Men, which came out late 90s. I thought it was a killer song when it came out. And then they had, but then they really broke through with How You Remind Me. That song went to number 1. And then they sometime later they came up with a song called Someday, and it had the same fucking build up. You know, the same, what is it? The same, not necessarily the same melody, but the same, yeah. And somebody decided to even put the two songs together online. It was nothing to be, it was really nothing, in my opinion, to be, walk home about. And since then, it's like Nickelback has really been just one of those bands that's, just there. And for them to partake in this horrible, horrible music festival that's loaded with a bunch of shitty country acts and rock acts, half-ass rock acts. Now, I almost want to call it a KKK festival, but I checked the schedule. Afroman is there. Because I Got High. That song was a smash hit for him 25 years ago. And it was like he was a one-hit wonder. Yeah, was he extremely high when he signed the contract to do this music festival? He probably was. I mean, sometimes drug use will lead to you being a total right-wing dingleberry. But anyway, I have not been in Hastings in years, and I don't care to. I don't really have a use for anything having to do with Berry County or Hastings, for that matter. But the honest truth is, America hates Donald Trump. You just turn on the news, and it's one disaster after another. You look at what, the shit that's going on in Los Angeles right now with Trump unleashing the National Guard and the Marines onto peaceful protesters. And of course, the poor, Senator Padilla from California getting manhandled by security because he wanted to talk to Kristi Noem. Kristi, the dog killer Noem. Yeah, that's who she is, a fucking dog murderer. It's like, that's what the right wing of America wants. They don't care about your freedom of speech. They don't want you to have a voice. They don't, folks, I've been dealing with trolls for years and years. I've been dealing with people who I talk to, and then they start talking over me because their opinions are better than mine in their sordid opinion. They are very self-centered people who believe that I'm a moron. But you know what, folks? I don't give a fuck. I have a voice. I don't want to hear, well, you've been doing this for 26 years and nobody looks at your website. And I know, Chuck69.com, most of it hasn't been updated over the years because I've had other things in life that I've had to do and deal with. And of course, part of the reason why I rarely update Bee-otch of the Day anymore and I turned it into a podcast is because of my dad. He lives with me now, and of course, his dog, actually, it's technically his dog. But then what happened is, see, that's another problem. My dad loves Trump. And when I had to reveal to him that I voted for Kamala, he got really angry with me. He said that Kamala Harris was going to fuck up our country. And I told him straightforward, I've never voted for a Republican because Ronald Reagan he took away our jobs. Same with George W., same with the Bushes. Bill Clinton. Now, I know that the problem with Bill Clinton was he didn't do a lot for the middle class. I mean, watch the big one, folks, the Michael Moore movie. You'll understand. That Bill Clinton wasn't even a real progressive. The first president in my lifetime that actually got shit done was Obama. And when Obama became our president, the minimum wage went up. Businesses in America became more competitive. And, I just wanted to smack everyone in the past who all tried to silence me over the years. That is part of my middle finger to all of those who said that I would never amount much to anything. I know. But you know what? Guess who else also was told that they would never amount much to anything? Walt Disney. Oprah Winfrey. Were two of the biggest examples. Walt Disney grew up poor. He never had toys as a child. His father wouldn't allow him to have much of anything growing up. And then so he started this animation studio in the 1920s in Kansas City, Missouri, called, a second. Yeah, I was just checking my watch. I'm going to try to keep this a short one today. I got a lot to do today. Laugh-O-Grams was the name of the studio. The point is, it went bankrupt. Then he moved out to Los Angeles, and he started finding success. And then he got screwed over by this one man who was producing his shorts. And he even took his character, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, away from him. So when and not only that, he took away all the animators that he had. And guess what? That's why he created Mickey Mouse. And he did it independently. And he became a success. People loved Mickey Mouse because he was funny, he was whimsical, he was the type of cartoon character people wanted to see. And he made a shit ton of money off of him. You see, the point is, I know that's the problem with right-wingers. They keep telling us that liberal media doesn't work and people don't care about, progressive politics. Then explain to me why the Midas Touch has more listeners than people like, a lot of the right-wing bullshitters that have podcasts. Yeah, you understand, folks? I don't want to hear that I suck because I lack this quality and I lack that quality. You understand? Because this type of mentality is what killed this Minnesota. Let's remember what happened, folks. There was a Minnesota Congresswoman who she and her husband were murdered yesterday. And the guy who murdered them, chances were that he was a right-wing Trumper. And these kinds of people need to be stopped. I don't want to hear, well, Donald Trump. won the election fair and square. Well, he only won by 2 million votes, number one. Number two, the only reason why he won, in my honest opinion, is because, you know, I agree, Joe Biden should have dropped out. Should have, you know, before, you know, he thought he could make a second term, but he couldn't. I mean, he had a disastrous speech against Trump. You know, he was lethargic, and that's what killed it. Americans were not given a choice for these last 3 presidential elections of who they wanted in the primary. Bernie Sanders won in 2016 and was winning in 2020, and he got fucked. And we had no choice but to vote blue no matter who, and look at what happened. Trump is now our president, reluctantly, and I am not looking forward to, you know, yeah, I love it when the right says, well, enjoy your next 4 years. The shit will hit the fan, folks. And, you know, it's become a giant circus. And this circus, my friend, is going to get worse and worse. I mean, it's one giant shit show. So, needless to say, I hope, you know, this is going to be very exciting, folks. This is going to be, well, maybe not exciting, more like depressing. And Americans are already telling, you know, folks, all I can say is I cannot wait till 2026 when I hope and pray we have a blue wave that year and Trump's powers will be taken apart. Let's turn the Senate blue and the House of Representatives. Let's tell Drumpf that he's done. And we need, and when it comes to 2028, let's put a real progressive in the White House then. Knock it. The DNC needs to stop telling us, stop listening to their billionaire supporters, and to they need to stop listening to their billionaire supporters and to start listening to the people. That's what it boils down to. Let's make America great again. For real. Okay, I kept it short and sweet. I gotta get going, folks. I'll talk to you later.